and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ozzy, and if this is your very first time on my channel, you're very welcome. This is a channel I created to share my experience on getting a green card through the EB2NIW category. Now, I applied for my green card without the help of any sponsors or any lawyers, and I saved a lot of money. And so I decided to create this channel to share my experience to help you as well. Now, today I'm going to give you the juice on the interview experience. I'm going to let you know what exactly happened at our interview. Now, if you watched the previous video, I shared with you the documents to take along with you for your EB2NIW interview. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. But before I go into it, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe right now. And if you'd like to get a notification every time I upload a video, please click on the bell sign. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you the juice on the interview experience. The interview was actually my favorite part of the whole process because it was my one chance to meet the guys who are actually going through our documents, see what it's like on their side. And I think for me, that was just my favorite part of it. And a lot of people asked me what that experience was like. Well, it was normal. It wasn't intense. It was something that was it was like a normal conversation, basically. It was a serious conversation, but pretty normal. Okay, so the very first thing I'll say is, when did we get our interview? So we got invited for our interview around 6 months after we put in our I485 application. They usually give you about a month from the time that you get that interview notice to the time of the interview. So you have about a month to prepare, put your documents together. Those of you who still need to get your birth certificates from your mom in your home country, you can go ahead and do that. But you want to have that month to just prepare all the documents and have them ready for the interview. One thing I failed to mention in the last episode was that if you didn't submit your I-693, which is your vaccination record and the records of your medical checks, you want to bring that along with you for your interview, all right? If you didn't already submit that with your I-485, go ahead and bring that along sealed to your interview because they're going to ask you for that, all right? So that's one thing I didn't mention. I should have mentioned. I'm telling you guys right now. All right. Yeah, they usually give you about a month. So they inform you about your interview about a month to the interview. So you have time to gather your documents. The very first question people ask me is, how do you dress to that interview? Well, it's like any other interview, you know, dress comfortably, but also dress professionally. Okay. Just dress well. I would say business casual is what I would go for. You can wear like a dress shirt if you're a guy, or you can wear a nice blouse if you're a lady. Something comfortable as well. All right, dress how you want to be addressed, basically. Okay, enough said. So now that you know how to dress, let me tell you our own experience. So our appointment was for like 9:30ish, right? But we were so excited that we left our house at 7 a.m. Now, the location of our interview was like maybe 15 minutes from our house. But we left at 7. There was no traffic. We got there in like 15 minutes and we were too early. They were like, you guys, no, it's too early. Go and come back around 9 at least. Come back at 9. We went back to the parking lot. We were very pumped. Like, we were super excited. I was telling my husband, like, do you think they're going to approve us on the spot? How is it going to go? You know, we were super excited. So we got back in the car and we were checking out like areas around us. We wanted to know what was around, where we could, you know, spend the time. We didn't want to go all the way home, you know, like we're already out. So we wanted to be in the area. So my husband found this photography store, right? And he loves photography. That's, if there's anything you know about my husband, Ade, is that he loves photography, videography. We went to this video store and he spent all this time asking questions about cameras, looking at cameras. I was just looking at the time because I'm just like, we need to get back there. Like, you know, today's the day, right? So we spent all this time and he's really getting into it. And then I told the guy, the guy he was speaking to, I'm like, we have an appointment today and we have an interview. And the guy was like, well, good luck, you guys. And it was really funny. But then we went back to the location. Okay, so when we got back there, we had all our documents in a binder. And on my next video, I'm going to show you how to organize your documents. I'm going to show you how we organize all our documents, all right? That's really important because when they're asking you for documents, you want to present your documents as fast as you can. And you don't want to be spending time going through, you know, stacks and stacks and stacks of documents. You want to have everything organized. And I'm going to show you how we organize our files in the next video, right? We got there. The check-in was like the airport, like security check-in. It's like a metal detector. You walk through, you take off your belt, you know, anything that could, you know, set the alarm off or anything. And then you pass your bag. They go through your stuff. As usual, you can't video and take pictures and things like that in there. And then of course you show them that your appointment notice, right? You have to always show that because that's why you're there, right? And so as soon as you do that, they tell you to go to a certain window and check in, right? So we go to this window, the lady asks us for our appointment document, we give her again, and then she gives us a number, right? We both have a number because we're the same case. And then we go and sit down. She tells us to sit till our number is called. You're gonna see all these other people there who are also anxiously waiting for their interview as well. And so it's just like everyone is like quiet, and like you can see people like maybe going over their responses in their heads. Like it's very quiet and solemn, I guess, in there. And then, but my husband kept trying to talk to me, and I was just like, don't talk to me. This is not the place. He kept trying to have a conversation with me. I'm just like a regular conversation. I'm like, I don't think we should be talking like that. Like, yeah. Anyway, I have this thing where I get really serious. Like if I feel like I'm in a serious environment, I want to be serious, and I want to, because I'm just like, they're probably watching us through the cameras to see what we're doing, and we always want to be serious. I don't know, but that's what I did. People were coming and going, and after a few minutes, I would say probably 15 minutes, the lady came out and she called our number. So we stood up and we walked to the lady, and the very first thing she did, I think she shook our hands, and then she held the door open for us, and then we walked through the corridor or the hallway to her office, right? So she took us to her office. We sat down. The very first thing what she did was she took pictures of us, so like a passport photograph of us. She took our fingerprints, our index fingers, and then she did the swearing in. So you raise your hand and you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth. So everything you're going to say should be the truth. This is not the place where you lie, okay? So get your act together, tell the truth, and you would get your approval, okay? So after we did the swearing in and we swore to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, the next thing that happened was that she opened up our I485 application. So remember the application that you sent in? They actually have all those things, and they bring it to the interview. She opened the I485 application and she went through the whole thing with us. So she went through my I485 application with me. She went through my husband Ade's I485 application with him. So she asked him, like, is this your name? Where were you born? Like, questions like that to make sure that the information on the I485 was correct. Now, I think there was a place where I forgot to tick something. She asked me about it, and then she made a note of it. So the interview is a time where you can correct, like if you notice any errors on your I485, you can go ahead and let them know and then correct that, okay? So they're going to go through the whole application with you. What I found really distinct was that at the end of the I485, you know how you have the yes or no questions, like, have you been a criminal? Have you kidnapped someone? Things like that. Things like that. She went through all the questions. So I found myself saying, no, 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 no. And it wasn't joint. It was like individual. So she went through my application. Then she turned to my husband. She went through his application as well. So that was one thing I found that was interesting. Okay. So after she went through those questions, then she turned to my husband, right? Because he was my dependent. I am the principal applicant, but then she turned to my husband first and she started asking him questions. So she asked him, like, what's your name? What's your date of birth? Where were you born? What is your status right now in the United States? What was the last time that you came through the borders? What date was it? So you want to know that date because they always ask that. And then she said, what date was that? And then she asked him, like, how did you meet Ozzy? Where did you guys meet? Who spoke to who first? Like, stuff like that. And then she said, what are you doing right now? And my husband at the time was getting his MBA. And so she said, what are your plans after you're done with that program? And his interview was pretty short, right? And he told her all these things. And then she turned to me. So she asked me, what is my name? What is my date of birth? When was the last time I came to the United States? So you're going to find that information on your I94 document. All right, that's your arrival and departure document. That document is available online. You can find that. All you need to find that document, you go to the website. I'll put a link in the description for where you get your I94 information. What you need, I think, is your passport number as well as your date of birth, and you can pull that document out. They're going to ask you for the last time you came into the United States. Okay, then she went into the NIW part of it. So remember that I'm applying under the category employment-based second preference national interest waiver, which means I don't need a sponsor. I can self-petition. I'm applying because I have exceptional abilities and things like that. So she started asking me about that. She asked me about how I got my job. How did I hear about the job? What exactly do I do? Why do I do what I do? Do I love my job? Do I plan to leave that job? Do I plan to move? Things like that. And then she also asked me a few questions about where I met my husband, we met in Nigeria, and I went through a little story about that. But by this time, you can see that these questions are not like terrifying. They're things that you already know. And so just be confident and just answer those questions, and it should go really well. She asked me a lot about my job. She asked me about what I do, why I do what I do, and stuff like that. And so once she was done asking those questions, she asked for some original documents. So she asked for the original birth certificate. She asked for the original marriage certificate. She asked for international passports. She wanted to see that. She asked for a W-2. She asked for my W-2, which is my tax document, the document that shows, my income and things like that your employer usually provides. Then she also asked for an employment verification letter. Now, you have to be careful here, because when she asked for my employment verification letter, of course I had it. I also reminded her that I am applying through EB2NIW. I don't need a sponsor or anything like that. And she was like, oh yeah, she knows that. So the one thing I can say that can help you in this whole experience is confidence, right? They're not going to ask you any questions that you need to cook up answers for. These are things that you already know. For instance, if someone says, what is your name? You know what your name is. You don't have to be afraid of that. You don't have to be like scared of anything. You already know the answers, okay? So go ahead and give them those answers. Now, if there's something that they're asking you that you don't remember, that's fine. Don't cook up answers because you don't remember something, but most likely you're going to have the answer, right? In the previous video, I told you all the documents that you need to take along with you. I'm just going to mention a few of them. Go watch that previous video. Please watch it to make sure that you have everything that you need. Every single thing that you need. The last thing you want is for them to ask you for something and you don't have it. That feeling is not the best, because then it could lead to your application not being approved, right? The question of the day, did we get approved on the spot? No, we did not get approved on the spot. And the reason she gave was that they were still expecting the results from our background checks. They hadn't come in yet. And so once she got that, she was going to go ahead and make a decision on the case. And then she told us that, we were going to hear from them in about 30 days. She said, well, you guys are going to hear from us in 30 days. So that was how our interview went. She also asked me if I had any questions for her. And of course I had questions. So if you don't already know, I'm a podcaster. I have a podcast. So one of the things that I've picked up just interviewing a lot of people is that as people talk to me, I have a ton of questions for them, and the way that I do that is by listening to their answers, right? I listen to what people really say. So the more she spoke to us, the more questions I had for her. And so I didn't want to overwhelm her with questions, but I did ask her a couple questions about like her job and, how her day went. I thought it was very interesting that she asked each of us the yes or no questions. Like, it was like a lot of questions for one person, and then she has to read out every single question. And I was just like, do you ever get tired of reading that out? Because I guess you have to read that out a lot every day. And she was like, oh no, well, it's part of the job and, things like that. But it was a really comfortable conversation. It was good. I think it was really good. So when our interview was done, she told us, okay, you're going to hear from us in 30 days. And do you have any questions for me? And I asked her my questions. And then she said, okay, well, I'll see you guys out. So she walked us all the way out and, told us to have a nice day or whatever. And so Adi and I left. We really wanted to get an approval on the spot because we had read about people who got approvals on the spot, but we didn't get that. But she told us that, well, your background checks haven't come in, and as soon as they do, I'm going to go ahead and make a decision. So we just went to an Indian restaurant and we had really nice naan and curry and we called our family. Of course, everybody wanted to know how it went. We let them know that, we thought the interview went really well. And then we went home and we had a wonderful evening. So my point here is this: if you want to take anything from this video, I want you to take this with you. All right, you're gonna have about a month to prepare for this interview. Make sure you take every single thing that you need. All right, read through the interview notice and you'll see everything that you need. Take all those things with you. The next thing I'm gonna say is dress comfortably and dress well. Dress how you want to be addressed. Basically, if you want to be addressed with dignity and you want people to respect you, wear something nice and professional. All right, when you do get there, you don't leave your house too early, but also take into account traffic and all these other things. We live right next, well, not right next, but like 15 minutes to the location. So we didn't have to leave too early, but we still left really early. And when we got there, we were told, okay, come back at 9, your appointment is at 9:30. So what am I saying? I'm saying give enough time for your arrival over there. You don't want to start an interview with a bad impression because you came late, all right? The next thing I'm going to say is bring along everyone you have on that application with you. If you have your husband there, if you have your children there, bring everyone along and make sure you bring all their documents as well. When you do get there and you ask these questions, be confident. You already know these answers. These are things that you already know. So go ahead and give them those answers, okay? If you have any questions for them, go ahead and ask them those questions as well, and they'll be happy to answer you. Now, the one thing I was scared of at my interview was that I did not have my original birth certificate. And I searched everywhere. And then, so I remember that my dad keeps all our documents with him, and it was probably in our house in the village in Nigeria. And I was like, ah! And then at that time, my parents were also here visiting with my sister. And so one thing I did, I called my sister. So if you don't have your birth certificate, something else that you can do is you can get supporting evidence for people that know you really, really well. You can get supporting evidence from people who were there when you were born. So in my case, I got 2 letters from my sisters saying that, basically saying, we know Ozzy, this is when she was born, this is how I know her, my relationship with her. And they got those documents notarized, and they sent that to me. And my mom also sent such document to me as well. If you need that document, if you need to see a template for how to prepare that document, of course, go ahead and reach out to me. Now, when I got to my interview, they didn't ask me for those documents. They only asked me for my birth certificate. What I had was a photocopy. I presented that, and that was fine. She didn't ask me like, is this the photocopy or this not a photocopy, right? Now, of course, I've gone ahead to get that birth certificate, and the original is with me because I always want to have my birth certificate with me. All right. So you have that 1 month. Make sure that you're reaching out, getting everything that you need, and that when it's time for that interview, you have all your documents. Remember to bring the original of all your documents. You don't want to bring photocopies. Bring the original to that interview. All right. Don't be nervous. I know it's you can be nervous about things, but this is the one chance you get to shine. Basically, this is your one chance. You're exceptional. You already told them you're exceptional. This is your one chance to let them know what exactly you do and what the impact of what you do is. Now, I'm a scientist, right? And for people in my field, we tend to go into like details a lot. And remember that the person you're speaking to is not a scientist, all right? Most likely isn't a scientist. So layman's language. Use layman's language when you're explaining these scientific things, all right? What you're doing is great and it's probably very technical, but explain it like you're explaining to your family on your dinner table. You're telling your grandma, like, this is what I do. This is the impact of what I do. Now, if you don't already know, I'm a scientist. I study a rare disease called sarcoidosis, and sarcoidosis doesn't have a cure. We don't know what causes it. I'm very passionate about that. And so sometimes when I start talking about it, I may go off on a tangent, just talking about one really critical thing. But to people who are not in my field, when I start using those technical terms, they probably don't understand what I'm saying. So layman's language, explain it, and don't make it too long. Just explain, I'm studying a disease called sarcoidosis. And then she asked me, what is that disease? And I said, oh, this is what it looks like. You have like granulomas in the lungs. It usually affects the lungs. So people who have this have problem breathing. I said it can also present in any part of the body, but it's primarily the lungs. And these are the symptoms, and this is what happens. And people get this disease. Mostly African American women are affected. And I even mentioned that there's a famous comedian. I don't know if you guys know Bernie Mac. He died from sarcoidosis, and things like that. It make it very relatable to them, and so they can understand what you're saying. All right, so that's my take home for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it was very informative for you. And if you have any questions, just go ahead in the comment section, ask me those questions, and I'll be very happy to help you. Now, the important thing about your EB2NIW application is your petition letter. You want to be able to present your case in such a way that whoever is going through your application understands that you have exceptional ability to help qualified individuals succeed in their application for a green card. Through the EB2NIW category, I've prepared an ebook that will really, really help you. I have on there my original petition letter. Of course, I've removed sensitive information like people's names and things like that. I've put that document in there because I want you guys to see exactly what I wrote down to get approved for this green card through the EB2NIW category. I've also included cover letters. I've included recommendation letters, my original letters. Now, of course, I've removed sensitive information as well, like the names of my recommenders and their locations, but I've also left in there exactly what they said about me, so that when you're crafting your recommendation letters, this will help you as a template. Okay, I've also included, some of you say, how do I ask for recommendation letters? I've included samples of emails that you can send out to people and ask for these letters. I've also included my employment verification document. What should that document contain? So many things, a list of all the documents I submitted to USCIS, as well as so much more I've included in this ebook. The ebook is called F1 Visa to green card, because I went directly from an F1 visa to a green card. If you want to get that ebook, go ahead and check in the description portion of this video and you'll see a link to that ebook. So I've come to the end of this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Tell your friends and family about this video. Until the next video, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.